Welcome back to the questions based on jurisprudence. Today's first question is, which English king played a key role in developing a unified common law system? Henry II in the late 12th century. What is the origin of the term canon law? The term canon law comes from the ancient Greek word canon, that means a straight measuring rod, a ruler. What significant legal document did King John sign in 1215? The Magna Carta. What is natural law? The idea that certain rights and principles are inherent in human nature and can be discovered through reason. What was Jean-Jacques Rousseau's idea of the general will? That a law should reflect the collective interest of the people. Why was the Magna Carta important for common law? It limited the king's authority to pass laws and it required that courts be held in fixed locations rather than dispensing justice arbitrarily. What is religious law based on? Religious law is based on religious precepts. How was justice perceived in ancient Egypt? As a moral order maintained by the Pharaoh's law tied to religious beliefs. What are some examples of religious legal systems? Jewish halacha, Islamic sharia, and a Christian canon law. Which Greek philosopher discussed justice as harmony within the state? Plato in his work The Republic. How did the English judiciary compare to the French judiciary in 1297? The English Court of Common Pleas had only 5 judges, whereas the highest court in France had 51 judges. What role did the Lord Chancellor play in developing equity? The Lord Chancellor issued judgments based on fairness, that is, equity, when the common law was considered too rigid. Which legal figure was the first lawyer appointed as Lord Chancellor? Sir Thomas More. What does the term Sharia mean? Sharia means the path to follow. What was the Court of Chancery? The Court of Chancery was a court that developed alongside a common law to handle cases based on equity. Which Enlightenment thinker introduced the concept of social contract? John Locke. What was Aristotle's view on justice? Aristotle saw justice as fairness and proportional equality. Which legal compilation significantly influenced the modern legal systems? The Corpus Juris Civilis, compiled under Emperor Justinian. Which institution played a significant role in law during the medieval period? The Catholic Church through canon law. How was justice administered in feudal Europe? Through customary law and a local lord's authority. When were common law and equity merged in England and the US? In England in the 19th century and in the US in 1937. Who was the first scholar to systematically collect and describe common law? William Blackstone. How did academic writings influence the development of common law? They helped collect overarching principles from case law and argued for legal changes. Which scholar integrated Christian theology with natural law? Thomas Aquinas. Why is religious law often considered unalterable? Because it is based on the word of God, which cannot be amended or legislated against by judges or the governments. Who is known for developing legal positivism? Jeremy Bentham and John Austin. Which legal code influenced the modern European legal systems in the 19th century? The Napoleonic Code of 1804. What are the main sources of Islamic law? The Quran or Qiyas, that is, reasoning by analogy. Ijma, that is, consensus, and a precedent. What is the name of Jewish law that is summarizes interpretations of the Talmud? Halakha. How does Israeli law accommodate religious law? It allows litigants to use religious laws only if they choose. What was the focus of social justice movements during industrialization? Addressing inequality and injustice through labor laws and human rights protections. Which document established universal human rights after World War II? The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. What's the function of canon law? It governs the internal regulations of Christian organizations and churches. What are some examples of public law? Constitutional law, administrative law, and criminal law. Which Christian churches follow canon law? The Catholic Church, Eastern Orthodox Church, Oriental Orthodox Churches, and the Anglican Communion. Which international courts were established to address crimes against humanity? The International Court of Justice, that is ICJ, and the International Criminal Court, ICC. What is CLS, or Critical Legal Studies? A movement arguing that law reinforces social hierarchies and power structures. What does feminist legal theory critique? How laws have historically oppressed women and the marginalized groups. What was the original form of canon law? It was a set of rules adopted by church councils, which later formed the foundation of canon law. Which legal system has the oldest continuously functioning legal structure in a Western world? The Catholic Church's canon law system. What are the two main codes governing Catholic canon law? The 1983 Code of Canon Law for the Latin Church and a code of canons of Eastern churches for the Eastern Catholic churches. Which principle of canon law influenced the common law? The presumption of innocence. What is the focus of restorative justice? Healing and reconciliation between offenders and victims rather than punishment. Why is access to justice an important issue today? To ensure that disadvantaged and marginalized groups receive fair legal treatment. How has the concept of justice evolved over time? From punishment and order to human rights, social fairness, and a global accountability. Does canon law have a civilly binding force in secular jurisdictions? No, it lacks a civilly binding force in most secular jurisdictions. When was Sharia law primarily practiced in non-codified form? Until the 18th century. Which legal code was the first attempt at codifying elements of Sharia law? The Ottoman Empire's Martial Code in the 19th century. What legal traditions influence modern legal systems in many Muslim countries? Civil law, common law, Islamic law, and custom. What is the central challenge for modern legal systems? Balancing social order, individual rights, and the common good. What is law? Law is a set of rules created and enforced by social or governmental institutions to regulate behavior. What are the main sources of state-enforced laws? Legislature, that is statutes, executive, that is decrees and regulations, and a judiciary, precedents in common law systems. Which countries recognize Islam as the religion of the state in their constitution? Egypt and Afghanistan. How does law influence society? Law shapes politics, economics, history, and society, and mediates relations between individuals. What is the basis of Saudi Arabian law? The Quran is recognized as the country's constitution, and it is governed on the basis of Islamic law. Which country reinstated Islamic law into its legal system after 1979? Iran. What has been a fundamental feature of Islamic resurgence in recent decades? The call to restore Sharia law. How has modern Islamic law evolved? Efforts have been made since the mid-1940s to bring Sharia law in line with modern conditions and conceptions. What are the two main domains of law? Public law, that is government and society, and the second one is private law, that is disputes between individuals or organizations.